All right, folks, I wanted to talk a little bit today about an article that was published in Time magazine that claims that the origins of exercise in the United States are racist. Yeah, they're racist. So, an article here from the Winnipeg Sun says Time magazine mocked after woke historian claims exercise is racist. It says Time magazine was relentlessly mocked after it published a piece claiming exercise is racist and part of a white supremacy plot. The White Supremacist Origins of Exercise asks, how did U.S. exercise trends go from reinforcing white supremacy to celebrating Richard Simmons? The article features an interview with progressive private school teacher Natalia Melman Petrozzella, who claims the pastime began in the early 1900s by white Americans eager to strengthen their race amid the abolition of slavery and increasing immigration. Petrozzella was disappointed to discover while researching her upcoming book, Fit Nation: The Gains and Pains of America's Exercise Obsession, that fitness enthusiasts in the early 20th century who wanted to get rid of corsets because it is an assault on women's form weren't as progressive as they seemed. You can see a tweet here from Time that says, and six other surprising facts about the history of fitness in America. They're saying white women should start building up their strength because we need more white babies, she says in the Time interview. Now, I don't know what strength has to do with having babies. Not much. They're writing during an incredible amount of immigration. Soon after enslaved people have been emancipated, Petrozzella continued, this is totally part of a white supremacy project. Petrozzella also spoke about the history of other popular workouts, including running, described as a great equalizer because it's something anyone can do and hardly any gear is required. It's important to point out that access was never totally equal. If you lived in a neighborhood that didn't have safe streets or streets that were not well lit, she clarified, women were catcalled, people of color were thought to be committing a crime. Now, this is very sad. Time magazine is one of the great American magazines of all time. And this is what they've devolved into. And I absolutely think Time magazine and this Natalia Melman Petrozzella person, they should be laughed at. They should be ridiculed. They should be mocked. Very well deserving. But we also have to keep in mind that there's things that are commonplace now, or at least way more common than they ever were before. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we would have laughed. We would have scoffed and said, "Oh, that can never happen. That's silly. Nobody would put up with that." Well, we're seeing child drag shows or drag queen story hour sanctioned by schools with actual drag queens reading to, in some cases, very young students. Who would have ever thought that would have become a thing? Who would have thought 10 years ago that it would be commonly accepted by a large percentage of the population that a man can become a woman or a woman can become a man? Nobody would have thought that. So we should laugh at something as silly as what this article is talking about here, but also keep in mind that unless we keep the heat up and unless this just becomes a complete laughing stock, stuff like this will take hold and it will become something that might become a common idea at some point. Now, who exactly is this Natalia Melman Petrozzella? This article describes her as a progressive private school teacher. Um, I looked her up. Here's her website. You can see here. She has a nice smile, but she also has some crazy ideas. She's somebody that, let's see here. Yeah, she's considered a historian of contemporary American politics and culture. She has degrees from Columbia and Stanford University. She has a master's degree. She has a PhD. So she's super educated, but it's people like this that are putting out these type of crazy ideas. You can see her book here. It says coming January 6th, 2023. I'm sure you'll all be jumping online to order this. Can't wait to get it, right? So it says, how is it that Americans are more obsessed with exercise than ever, and yet also less healthy? What does fitness even mean, and what is it for? How, over the past century, has working out evolved from strange subculture to a social imperative? If a shared American creed still exists, it's a belief that exercise is integral to a life well lived. A century ago, working out regularly was considered a weird ritual, but today, it's almost impossible to avoid exhortations to exercise. Walk 5K to cure cancer. Ignite your inner sex kitten at pole dancing class. Sweat like, or even with, a celebrity in spin class. Exercise is everywhere and can at the same time be a force for empowerment and exclusion. Fit Nation explains how we got here and imagines how we might create a more inclusive, stronger future. Now, that's a lot of word salad there. But yeah, you can see here, and this woman's taught, who knows how many students, and when things like this take hold, it sadly is going to become something that might become common. So we definitely need to keep the heat up on these people and make sure that these ideas are laughed at and don't ever become something that's commonplace. What do you all think? Can that be done? Is it inevitable that people like this, as they teach kids, and you have a political party in the United States that says, hey, if you don't accept these ideas, you're a bigot, or you're a racist, or you're upholding white supremacy. So let me know what you all think. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.